Hey, good morning. Since we can't meet today, I figured I would go over the homework assignment with you and hopefully clear up any confusion about the steps, the materials, etc. So, it's posted on the blog, all these informational parts to it, the materials, the how-to, and notes. So check that out on the blog. So it is a weekly assignment number 1. It's a 1-point perspective project. You get to pick 4 letters and make a word. And you want to put this in 1-point perspective, making it appear, as you see right here, which I've done for you, to be coming out of a box, if you will. Very 3D. So pretty basic in some aspects, but there are a lot of steps to follow to be able to get to this. So let me start at the beginning. So the first thing you're going to do is pick a 4-letter word and draw it in 1-point perspective according to the visual sample provided. I have all these fonts and letters for you to see. Hold on, let me get that for you. I thought you might want to see that. Haha! This is also posted on the blog. You're welcome to print this out if you want. This gives you a template of, to follow. Template of fonts, essentially. So you want to use block letters, just like this, that give you enough space to be able to work with 1-point perspective. So you can use uppercase or lowercase. It's up to you. Anyway, all right, so that's the little sample I provided. After planning and drawing it out, use your sketchbook, kind of like figure out what words look good to you, something that you think you want to use. It could be any word that you want. Use the specific pencils to tone it and then finish it by cutting it out. It will look like it's jumping out of the picture frame. Here's how. Materials. So you want to start with your sketchbook for note-taking and project planning. It's just an idea to figure out where you're going. Sometimes if you sit down to a blank sheet of paper, like this, it can be very intimidating. So you want to use your sketchbook to kind of plot it out. Next, using an HB pencil, you'll use this to plan out your illustration. So you want to use a light touch with this. And number 2 is pretty okay, enough to be able to see the graphite, but not enough to hopefully make too much of a dark mark that you can't erase later. So keep that in mind. Don't push too hard and make it too dark. Then you're going to use a 3B pencil for the background. That's where it comes for the dark areas. And then you're going to use a 4H pencil, which is one of the lightest of the pencil family, if you will, and that does the light gray area. You want to have an eraser, a nice ruler, plastic triangle if you happen to have it with a 90-degree angle. It just makes the process go easier. Your drawing paper, 9x12, which this is, and of course scissors or X-Acto knife. To be able to, cut out the final product. Okay, so using the measuring template that I provide for you below, so on the blog, I went ahead and made this template. Let me see if I can pull that up. There you are. So I made this template and I posted it online, and it kind of breaks down to how you want to measure this out. So use that, print this out from the blog, and use it as a guide if you need it. Otherwise, just follow along. Anyway, what you want to do is you want to start up 2 inches from the bottom, and that's where you start your first box line. So essentially, what you want to do is you start out with a blank sheet of your 9x12 paper, if you will, and starting at the bottom, you want to just measure, just measure the first 2-inch. Make a notch on one side, go to the other side, make another little notch for 2 inches, put your ruler across, and this kind of gives you a guideline to just, like I said, begin the area where you're going to start your letters. And what you want to do is make your first line, and that goes across. And notice it's not too terribly dark. You want enough that you can see, but enough that you can also erase. The next thing you want to do is go up. So according to this, so you go up 2 inches first, and then you do 3 inches, then another 2 inches, and then another 2 inches. So it's broken down to 2, 3, 2, 2. So again, from here you want to measure 3 inches, which is right there, 3 inches. Let me pull this out of the way. 3 inches was right there. You want to be able to go and measure this out. Make sure you hold your ruler at both ends at first while you're drawing across, or else sometimes, you know, your ruler will fall slightly and you'll make a crooked line. So anyway, 2, 3, 2, 2. Okay, so you also want to come in 2 inches from either side, meaning from here and here, as shown on the diagram. So look at this. So you want to go 2 inches in and 2 inches in from this side. And then what you're going to have left is this wonderful, essentially, box area. And the thing is what you're seeing is that there will be an extra added 1/2 inch right here. So let me just go ahead and kind of draw this out for you. So I'm going to come in 2 inches on this side. Again, make a little tick mark, if you will, a little dot right there to just designate where 2 inches is. I go in 2 inches from this side, here, 2 inches on this side, and then I'm going to, oh, and here's a nice kind of little trick. So if you put your ruler down nice and straight on a line that you've already drawn, you can go ahead with your plastic triangle, and this is what I mean when it makes it so much easier. You can just line this up and make your 2 inch mark here, go back. You just have to make sure that your ruler stays in one place. Some people actually tape it down. So there you are, you make another 2 inch. So that's kind of where your letters are going to be. And what I do is I always go up, just like I said, a little bit higher, because you're going to want that little sense of three-dimensional quality to it, where it looks like it's breaking out of the box. So I'm just going to make sure that my lines are extended just a little higher so that we can use that later. All right, so the idea is then, like I said, there's a little area that goes just a little higher, and that will eventually be a nice little 1/2 inch line right above there, as shown in the diagram right there, there, and there. As you can see, it just goes higher. It means that all these letters end from 3 inches to 3 inches. It's just that then they go back into space, like a 1/2 inch up. And the way you figure this out is as follows. So each of these letters is roughly about 2 inches in size. Depending on your letters, as I say, some letters are a little bit thicker, others are very thin, so it really does depend on what your word is. So if you have the letter I, for instance, it's very thin, so you can kind of shift it around the page in that 2 inch block from either section to make it kind of look appropriate. If it's something like a W, you might have to kind of squeeze it in or figure out a way to kind of line it all up. The idea is roughly 2 inches per each letter. And so when I say plot it out in your sketchbook first, that just kind of gives you an idea of what you're getting into before you sit down to good paper to figure it out. So what I do is I just marked off, as you can see, from here to here is the first 2 inches, 2 inches down here, 2 inches there, and 2 inches there, making these little quadrants. And it equals up to 8 inches in length, so you're going to be working in an 8 inch area. So it's essentially 8 inches by 3, essentially 3.5. That will give you this nice little size. Anyway, so now what you want to do is start the making of the letters, if you will. So hang on, part 2 is coming next.